You were thoroughly burnt out. And the best way you say to re-energize would be to choose a new career.
For whatever reason, like, I'm going to do real estate one day. And I'm like, if I'm stressed now, what does that look like? Like, I was so sick of like saying a brand name every day more than I said my own name. Okay, let's see what you can do. And I don't believe that you have to be nasty to win in this business. I want to create a life that I don't feel like I need an escape from. And so that's really been mine.
Welcome back to our Real Producers podcast with our March cover feature, Mandy MANCINI with the MANCINI Group, Keller Williams Consultants Realty. It is such an honor to have her with us today, Mandy. Thank you so much for joining us and allowing us to share your story.
Thank you. I love sitting down with you. So anytime.
So, Mandy is someone who, in my career, I've been doing this for 7 years. I kind of have some highlight folks in my in all of the features we've done in the 7 years I've been doing this, and you are definitely a highlight. So, fun fact, I kind of had to work Mandy for, I don't know, a year or maybe it's probably more. But more importantly, we built, I think, a personal relationship, and I just grew to respect you as a person outside of the business that you run. And we finally got you to say yes. And so we're so excited to talk about your story.
Well, and I appreciate you kind of staying on me and helping me to kind of get out of my comfort zone a little bit, because this was very gratifying and rewarding. And just there are some pieces to this journey that I think I wasn't expecting. Like, obviously being on the cover of something or like being in a magazine is super uncomfortable for me because I don't like the me piece. But there are pieces and parts of the journey that I just like really filled my cup, and I'm just so grateful for.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you shared that with me. I think that's feedback that I get semi-regularly where there is such an emotional aspect to it. And typically folks in your, like, how you run your business and the level of success, you just have your head down and you're doing the work. And we really kind of force you to kind of take stock of the journey, where you're at, your team, all of those things. And so I love to hear that it was rewarding for you in that way. So a fun fact, Mandy, if you know Mandy and her business and her work, one of the things that I love about your work is how your aesthetic vision and your vision for the brand of your business is so incredibly important. So one of the ways I got her to say yes was you can use your own photographer, and this is your canvas and you can do what you want. And so the images and the story itself turned out so incredibly beautiful. Would you give a shout out to your photographer?
Yeah, Lindsay Nava, she is incredible. I have been using her for a really long time, and I always say, like, if property photography is one thing, but Lindsay, when it comes to people, I've always hated photos of myself. And she's actually one person that I'm like, oh my gosh, I love these photos. I want to use them. I'm proud of them. Yeah. And she's just like such a girl's girl. And she's like your cheerleader the whole time. It's awesome. And she has such a vision, and she really makes you look your best.
I feel like this captures you and your personality. I love the Alani in this photo, and you on the phone and the computer.
And I have my Alani here, of course. Like, I am just shameless plug, right?
So it's perfect.
Well, and then I had a friend of mine, Abby Wolf, who owns Tan Wolf. I had her come and kind of like direct, because she's so good in front of the camera and her aesthetic is great. So I just like brought in all these like really talented women that just are so good. And Abby's like chip clipping my pants and like, you know, making sure everything looks good. And so it was great.
Yeah, it's perfect. Well, let's start with your actual journey in real estate. So a dozen years ago, you were a trailblazer in the beauty industry, and you become a corporate America success story through your expertise in building brands. Makes sense. But although you had an exciting and enviable career, you had reached an obstacle. You were thoroughly burnt out. And the best way you say to re-energize would be to choose a new career. So talk me through why real estate, and what was kind of that moment for you where you were like, I have to do something different?
So it's so funny because I had always said, for whatever reason, like, I'm going to do real estate one day. I'm going to do real estate one day. And even for like the years leading up to me leaving corporate America, I kept trying to figure out like, can I do classes on the weekends? But I was traveling. We used to joke like I had a rock star like tour schedule. I was in 3 different cities a week. I was in beauty and grooming. So like things that were in Sephora and Ulta, and Sephora and Ulta were growing at that time by leaps and bounds. And so during that time period, Sephora was going into only major metropolitan. I was in every cool city in the nation, in the Caribbean. I mean, it was, and while that sounds very, very glamorous, yeah, man, I was alone all the time. I was eating room service. I was overworked. I mean, I was just exhausted. And so I just was so burnt out. And I remember the company that I was with, I had like pivoted into the natural sector a little bit. And the company was built as basically a tax write-off for this Indian billionaire. And so when it was coming to an end, he just was like, we're shutting down, just like one day, all of a sudden. And so they gave us a severance package. And I remember I was interviewing and talking to people, and I got a job offer for more money than I ever thought I would make in corporate America. And I was like, wow, this is really great. And I was so anxious about taking this job. And I'm like, everything in me is telling me not to do this. And I deserve to listen to myself. And I kept thinking of like these women that I loved and respected in this industry that were, you know, above me. My next step would have been like CEO or VP. And I'm like, if I'm stressed now, what does that look like? And also just like what they had given up for these brands. And I'm like, wait, why don't I build my own brand? Like I was so sick of like saying a brand name every day more than I said my own name. And I just thought, well, I deserve better. And I turned down this job offer, whipped out my credit card, paid for real estate school, the 3-week intensive, called my mom and dad because I still like, I talk to my mom and dad about everything still, even at this age. And I just was like, hey, I just am telling you what I am doing just as a courtesy. Your opinion is not wanted or needed at this time. And at the moment I ask you for a dime, that's when you can give me your opinion. And that
chills.
And I mean, I'm come from, you know, an Italian father, and I really love him. I remember my dad said, okay, let's see what you can do. The only thing I've never had to worry about with you is making money. And he's like, so this should be interesting. And I remember there were some building a business is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's one thing to say I'm going to do this, but like if you think back on that moment and what you've built to today is truly phenomenal. Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have an older brother, and it's funny because he's 2 years older than me. Very different path of life. Like I called him Golden Boy all my life. It was hard to live under his shadow. Like I was like the popular's cool girl athlete. Like that was great. But my brother was the smart, put together one. And I got a lot of like, why can't you be more like Jesse? And that was hard growing up. My dad was my principal. And so I was in this environment, in my Catholic school, high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I was always being scrutinized.
Sure. By peers and like
Everyone.
yeah.
And even so in class, I would get a lot of like, why can't, and I didn't want to live in a shadow. Like I was going to march to the beat of my own drum. I've always been that way. It was just interesting. And so I made like crazy choices during high school. I was probably a little bit of a problem child, but I was like dealing with all this. But he went to West Point. So the United States Military Academy, which you have to have a government appointment to do. Like that's a really big deal.
Oh.
And I say like I didn't want to be in his shadow, but I also was like the proudest sister. Like I mean,
Makes sense.
I remember the day he got the appointment. I was like, oh my God, like just beaming. So it was so great. So like nothing against him. But because he followed that path, he went to West Point. He did 2 tours of Iraq. He retired from the Army as a captain, and a lot due to be like after you've done tours of Iraq and, you know, he's got this cough and these things and like all this stuff. But he still works for the Army Corps of Engineers. He's amazing. He's an engineer. He's got a big job. He's cool. But I mean, until probably like maybe 6 years ago, he was still sending me like job notifications. It's like, you should get a job. And it was the wildest thing ever.
Really?
Yeah. And it's so funny. But now it's so interesting because I remember my my mom and dad, my dad being like, I couldn't even have like dreamed as big as what you've built. Like I couldn't even have like wrapped my head around I hate to talk about money, but like making this type of money or making this like level of success or so I know I make them really proud. And as like Jesse starts to like deal with life and, you know, all the things that come with that, I'm always like, oh, I'm the favorite one now. So I have no time to do anything besides work.
Oh, wow. That's so interesting. Well, and it sounds like your brother, like it is a traditional kind of like Italian male, you know, you follow, you know, certain things and, you know, yeah, a traditional real job, whatever that is. But you own your own business is what real estate is. It's you own your own.
But it's hard for people to understand.
Yeah. I think I'm probably just numb to it because I've been in the industry for so long that it's like, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Most people don't get it.
So you were born in the Boston suburbs, but you lived in Dublin, Ohio during elementary school, and you spent your middle and high school years in Melbourne, Florida. Talk to me about how you ended up coming back to Ohio then, and where are your parents now?
So my parents are still in Melbourne.
Okay.
So that's still home. I was looking at all kinds of different schools. Columbus has always been like my favorite place. And I think it's because my most genuine relationships, like most memorable relationships are here. I have, my mom has an identical twin. And so when we were living in Dublin, like they lived in the neighborhood behind us. So those are like my sibling cousins. So my memories here are just solid and good. And I just loved it here. And my sibling cousin, I call her my sister cousin, she had moved back here and was living in Clintonville. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to go to FIT and do fashion in New York. And I got in there and then St. Mary's of Notre Dame and like all of these places. And I didn't want to do any of it. And so I came up and decided to go to Ohio State and live with my cousin. So it was fun and great.
Yeah, what a time.
Yeah, it was such a great time. And then from there, I was kind of a gypsy soul. I mean, I have literally lived everywhere. If I listed it, it would blow your mind. But it's been, I mean.
Yes, you said I've lived everywhere. Orlando, Atlanta, Mexico, Hawaii, to name a few.
Yeah. It's been great, though. Like, I'm so glad that I lived that life. And I think, honestly, I'd probably still be a little bit of everywhere if I wasn't so locked down by a business I built.
Yeah. Well, and there's next seasons of your life, too. So there's much more to come. So in 2014 is when you decided to pivot to being a realtor. Now, you do what I love about what you do, and it is a niche, part of the business. You focus on luxury market buyers and sellers located through Central Ohio. You say the Airbnb sector is a huge part of your business, and we work with a lot of developers. So is that something that did you just naturally progress into that space, or because there's a learning curve with that particular sector of the market? Kind of talk to me about your early years and how you landed to where you're at now.
So I was on a team when I hit, I don't know, maybe year 3. I joined a big team and he did a ton of development and I was kind of his superstar. And so he took me along for the ride and I learned a lot just being there. And honestly, I didn't think I ever would want to do development. It's so stressful. There's a lot of front load. It's just, yeah. I think people think they want to work to get to that point, but it's just an interesting world. And honestly, my first development project, I did it because I wanted to beat somebody. I know that sounds so terrible, but that's just being super candid, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. I wanted to win. I wanted to beat someone. I also wanted to prove myself that I could do it on my own.
Sure.
Also, you're with someone else and you're under someone's brand for such a long time. And that was like my first year out. And I just wanted to be like, yeah, I've got the brand to do this. And so now that's just kind of like snowballed. And so, I've got a big developer in Hawking, which has been great. I sold, an 8-unit. That's where the Airbnb stuff comes in. 8-unit portfolio at the end of last year. It was a huge sale. And that sort of stuff is kind of what feels good to me now, like putting together the difficult deal. And that's truly like a business acquisition. So it kind of opens up this mindset of like what is different that you could be doing. And it's funny, when Carol called me to interview me for the story, I was in the middle of that deal and I had to call her and tell her, like, I can't even like talk to my husband right now because I'm so stressed out about this deal. It was like $10 million. And I was like, I cannot fumble this. And it was new and different and some things that I had dealt with in like prior like situations, but it was a business acquisition. I mean, we were talking about stuff that was blowing my mind and creative finance, like just crazy stuff. And so it was funny. I was like, I can't talk to you. We've got to talk later. Like, I have nothing to say.
Seriously, Medray is at full capacity.
Yes, it was. I couldn't even be bothered. I was just like so locked in. That
What's interesting about our business in particular, or it will never cease to amaze me, is it's so experience-based. So you could be in this industry for 12 years and then, be working through a deal like that and never encountered certain things. However, your experience and things like that, you just walk through it. And when you're on the other side, you're like, now I have a new skill. I have a new understanding of XYZ. In real estate, it's always like that.
always. And I will tell you, so what's interesting about that deal, the only reason why I was able to do that deal is that the year leading up to that, I had been negotiating on a boutique hotel for myself. So I had been talking this talk and all of this creative stuff and different and the way it's approached. Like, I had been unpacking it. So when this investor called me on a Sunday afternoon and no one else was probably answering their phone, like, I'm that person. I think that's, people always ask me why I'm successful. And I say it's because I answer my phone. So I picked up the phone and I'm talking the talk with this guy. And he literally stops and says, and they're major, like short-term rental nationwide, like they're big. And he was like, wow, it is so refreshing to talk to someone that knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. And I was open to what he was saying. And I was like, talk about the universe like setting you up, because I didn't get this deal, this boutique hotel. I didn't end up getting it. And I was just like,
this practice. It was like
literally practice. It was so great. And I was like,
well, and the fact that he found you as well.
Zillow. But talk about marketing. I mean, like, talk about photography and like,
well, you hit your ideal client.
They were lights and, just thinking about it as strategy and not just dumping things on the MLS, because like the way people search and how people are going to find you. And it was interesting because he called about 2 units, not 10. Yeah. Or not 8. There was 8. No. Yeah.
So one of the things that I love about your story is all of these incredible images are in your actual personal home.
I love it.
And this next photo is one of my favorites, this one in particular. And then there's you and your husband, of course. But the pose, like all of it, I just love that particular image. But your home, let's kind of get into some personal things about you. This home you purchased, talk me through the process of what you've done in this beautiful ranch. Is that right? On some land?
Yeah, we had 5 acres. We're in Granville. So we had been looking for like some land and to get out of the city. And I kept telling my husband, like, I cannot live in some of these places. Like, I will stick out like a sore thumb. And I didn't want to. And then we stumbled upon this property in Granville, and it went in a contract. I was like, okay. And for some reason, one day, I called the agent, who is Jeff Ram, and I'm like, hey, talk to me about that contingency on that house. And he was like, Mandy, so crazy. They just called me this morning and said that the kids are upset they're not buying it. And he was like, can you get there by 2? And so, so we walk in and there are walls and 11 different floors in this house, but it is in immaculate condition. I mean, like, I joke, it was like a 70s porn tub, like the round, shallow.
So just completely out
I
of
mean,
date.
it was
But
like
the bones were like, ugh.
Yeah,
like,
so good. And my husband's a contractor. Right. So we get in there, we're like, we can do this. So when I say like green flag, like everything was just like, we closed in 14 days. We closed on Valentine's Day. It was literally like we had just gotten married. It just, life is perfect.
I love that.
It was great.
I found a lot of times in my life, you're not expecting it, but when it's right, it's like boom, boom, boom. It just happens.
And I believe that everything should feel like that. Like there shouldn't be so much resistance and strife. And so we get in, and
Did you live there during the renovation?
we did, because we were just so ready to get out of downtown. We were, and we still have the same house. We still have the houses downtown, but we just wanted to go. And so the basement is a walkout and has like a full owner suite down there too, a little kitchenette. So we just moved into the basement and started on the upper floor. My first caveat was, can we get the owner's bedroom together in the bathroom so that we have our like escape?
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. And then, I mean, it has gotten to a bigger project than it ever started as, of course. I walk home one day and Parker is literally like swinging out of the rafters.
You told me this story at the magazine release party, I think.
It was hilarious. Like I walk in and he is Spider-Manning out of, and he had vaulted the ceilings. And it felt like a church in there. Like it was, so now they're 18 feet. Like just crazy. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I want this door arched and I want that door arched. And then he's like, well, if you're arching the doors, then like right angles feel funny. I'm gonna round every corner in this room. He can take anything I do and like next level it. It's so good. And so, I mean, we've literally touched almost every surface in it.
So when did you buy it and how long has this been going?
I mean, it's been going on for 4 years because we literally can't stop. So like last year we ripped off the entire back deck but it's been.
But at this point now it has to be.
We're just like elevating.
Fun. Yeah, you're just kind of like,
yeah. It is so good. We're so proud of it. And it was funny because as I was like shooting these pictures for this, and I'm like, how cool is it that a lot of people are trying to find spaces that are cool to shoot in, and this is my space. And it made me pause and be like, wait, like this is special and something to be really proud of, and we've worked really hard for it.
Yes.
And so,
yeah. And I didn't realize you were shooting in the home until like I got your story back and I was reading through it and I was like, this is in her home. Because when I saw the images, I was like, where are you? So, it's so perfect. I also love how you highlight your beautiful team and just how you all work together in such a synergistic way. And I know that that's very important to you. Would you share with me when you got to a point in your career where you were like, I need to build a team, and how you kind of landed in that area?
So I had left a team doing major volume, like 30 to 40 million on my own. And I wasn't set up for success. I had to hire my own assistant. I just had to like build this thing around me to support what I was doing because I didn't have that support. And I had always been like helping other agents. And even within the team I was in, like I built that team. I cultivated, I hired, I fired, I did everything. And so when I left and I was on my own, and I really had said, I'm going to do this on my own. And then the amount of people that wanted help or needed help or just needed some coaching. And I started coaching for a little while and I'm like, it just didn't feel right. And I wasn't choosing people were choosing me. And I needed to pivot that a little bit, because if I pour into you, I want you to be also showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I want people to meet me where I'm at, and I want to meet them where they're at. And like, can we all be on the same mission? And it just kind of like organically started to happen. And then now it's so fine tuned that like I would walk through fire for these people and with these people every single day. It's really refreshing that, and I've said this to them, that anybody could say anything about any one of them, and I could like stand on business and say, not my this person, or not my, they are such an incredible reflection of the culture that we like really are. I mean, it even gives me the chills talking about it, because that's actually who we are, and it's who we want to be. And we show up as that person every single day.
Yes, I love one of the quotes that you say, and it's so true. You and the team exude this. You're going to be the best, and you're going to be the most successful while you're leading with kindness. And you also say with us, it's not just talking the talk, we walk the walk. On a side conversation you and I have had before, you know, you hold a name in the industry, right? And I think sometimes people create their own perceptions about what Mandy Mancini must be like, and then they talk to you, and they're like, oh, you've heard this, I think, more than once. You're nothing like I thought you were going to be. Would you kind of give me your thoughts on that?
I think it's really funny, and I think if I were a man, that would not be even the conversation. I think what's interesting is like, as a successful woman, that, and there's plenty of them in this industry, and there's plenty of them in every industry, but there's like a
stigma,
that kind of follows women especially. And I think some women feel like they have to show up that way as well, whether it's like just being hardcore or being difficult or whatever these words are that get attached to us. And it's so interesting because I hear it about myself all the time. I've had people be like, oh yeah, Mandy's a pit bull. And I'm like, honestly, if you've had a pit bull, you know that I actually am a pit bull, but that's not the way they actually meant the statement. I'm never out of my box. You will never catch me being nasty. You're never going to catch me. Right. I just don't move like that. It's not who I want to be. I haven't always been that way. Like, I've been fiery and feisty all my life, but I choose to be something different now, and to lead. And that really trickles down onto my team, which is amazing. And I think people want me to be something else. And I think there's people that maybe don't want to like me. But I'm just nice.
Yeah, I know you're pretty likable.
I just want to be kind, and I want to be good. And I think if that bothers you, like, that's okay. But
right,
what you see is what you get all of the time.
Yeah.
As I get older, I'm even more like dug in on what like is right for me and good for me, and that's how I move, while also respecting and being good to other people at the same time, because I think you can do it all. And I don't believe that you have to be nasty to win in this business. I'm proof of that. And I hope that like every person that I come across, like after they've come across me or they've dealt with me in some capacity. And actually, on that note, the thing that sticks with me the most about this process, and that I will take with me forever, is what a room full of people that did not know me personally had to say about me. And that was like, it was just so, it was touching, and it just meant a lot to me, because it just showed me that what I'm doing actually is impactful, and how I'm leading and showing up is resonating.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it was great for me to hear. I think I needed to hear it. But I was so proud that my team was there.
Yeah. Did you see how much they admired you?
They were so proud. And not just like, oh God. And like, it's so funny because I don't cry for anything, but if I talk about them, I just Mandy. It's just so great.
Well, to build something that it's one thing that if you believe in your vision and how you want to carry your business, but you could just feel on all of them that evening if they believe in you, they emulate that same perspective and vision, and it's really hard to find that many people who are like-minded that buy into it. So who you've attracted and what you've curated in your team is really impressive and something to be proud of, for sure. It's a beautiful thing.
But I think it goes to like even what I said in there, like we walk the walk, like we live life together. Those people in that room and we live life together. So it's like, I'm not just here for you in business. I'm here for you in everything. And that I think I said it was like a Keller Williams, like top producers training. And I said that I was positioning myself with people around me that I wanted to be with in the darkest depths of things that could happen in your life to the highest highs of the greatness that can happen in your life. And we've experienced that together. I mean, we truly, truly have. And I want to show up. I want to show up for you.
Yeah.
And hold your hand. Yeah. When your husband's dying or when you're in the breakup or, when your parent gets a diagnosis, and we've lived all those things together. And I want to be proud of how I show up in those moments for them.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Well, would you share with us what you like to do outside of when you're working? And I have a feeling you mesh all of these things together, but tell us some personal passions you have outside of real estate.
It's funny. I've always been kind of just like a workhorse, and I find a lot of like value and happiness and all of that and like in my hustle. And so I'm trying to like peel back, like, what do I really like to do? And what would I be doing if I didn't want to do this? And I love building something. So I think that that's going to be like a piece of something that I always do, no matter if it's within real estate or something else. But, I love to work out. I love to be active. I love to go on a hike. I love to cook. Actually, people talk about like leveraging your life all the time and like, who cleans your house and don't go to the grocery store. It's a bad use of time. I love going to the grocery store. I love like doing those chores with my husband on the weekend. Like we have so much fun together and like it just feels normal and good. And so I know that sounds silly, but I just kind of like living life. Like I love to be home. I'm such a homebody. My husband really likes to travel, and I've traveled so much for work for so long that I don't love to travel anymore. And I told him that not anything against anyone that likes to travel, but I want to create a life that I don't feel like I need an escape from. And so that's really been my like huge focus for the last 4 years. A home that feels like a retreat and that I just love being in, and it's peaceful, and everyone comes to sleep over at my house because that bottom level is so great and they get the best sleep of their lives. And it's just like, and that's what I want. So creating that space, and I love thinking of new business ideas and like what's next, and building things out. And there's always something behind the scenes going on with me that like no one else knows. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to go, kayaking and like just random stuff. When I do travel, I love to go home to my mom and dad. I love to go see my family, my niece. And so it's just such like, I think another thing is like, I think people think I'm a lot more glamorous than I am, but I'm really like t-shirt, sweatpants, no makeup, just simple girl. And like the simple things matter the most to me.
Yeah. Love that. Well, Mandy, thank you so much for sharing all of this with us. Do you have any closing thoughts before we kind of wrap it up?
I think that, and I text you in the middle of our dinner that night, and like you are just so genuine in what you do, and you're so present when you do it. And I think that that's exactly what this industry needs. And I think it's really cool that it takes place in real producers. And, a lot of times we're working on the accolades and the things like that just for other agents. And I think that that's okay. And you make it mean something. And I think that I just appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship. I really just, you're so good at what you do. And I think you're such an asset to our community just in general in real estate. And I just really appreciate you and everything that you stand for.
Thank you so much, Mandy. That means the world to me. It's a privilege to do this. So thank you so much. Well, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next month.